Hey co-op gamers, welcome back to the channel. Today we have a special treat for you in the form of our best local co-op games of 2023. It's not something that we usually do in years past because we like to keep our thoughts on this for the big kahuna of the year, our top 10 co-op games of 2023. But we know how much you guys value local co-op games specifically, oftentimes lamenting their absence in the greater scheme of the gaming industry. And in a year with a lot of great titles, we figured it'd be helpful to chronicle it in video form. So here's the gist. We'll go through 10 of the best local co-op games that we've played this year in order of their release date. No, we're not going to be ranking them here, you'll have to wait for the overall top 10 to see that, so here's my opportunity to suggest you stick around with a sub if you want to see how that all shakes out. And of course, let me give you the important disclaimer that Gabe and I are a two-man operation. We of course didn't play every local co-op game this year. Just more than probably any other pair of friends on the planet, it's kind of our thing. But with that in mind, here's a handful of games that potentially could have made our list, but won't just because we didn't have time for them. Risk of Rain Returns, 30XX, Karmazoo, and Astral Ascent. All of these have gotten really great buzz from critics and players alike, so here's our quick shout out to those games for you to check out. And if there's any more that we miss after you finish watching, be sure to give them a shout out in our comments. Okay, with all that out of the way, let's do it. Let's cover the best local co-op games of 2023.
We began our year with a true hidden gem in Patch Quest. Now, describing Patch Quest is kind of like putting in a very complicated smoothie order. I'll have some Metroidvania, monster taming, a dash of base building, throw in a good helping of bullet hell, and finish it off with a roguelike base. You wouldn't think that a game could juggle so many genres, but Patch Quest does it with ease and makes it work wonderfully in co-op. For one, it's a ton of fun to ride different monsters and discover complementary builds together. And having a buddy along for the ride can save that long-lasting run since you can revive each other. Which you will, cause despite its cute art style, Patch Quest can be pretty tough. At a $15 price point, you're walking away with so much content, really making this one of the most underrated titles of the year. So don't be one of those gamers, don't sleep on Patch Quest. Another well-kept secret of 2023 is Cassette Beasts and the fact that it's pretty much the co-op Pokemon game we've always wanted. But I'm doing Cassette Beasts a disservice in saying that because it really does so much more. This is a really chill two-player co-op game that's almost like a mix of Pokemon and Persona. It also has deeper RPG mechanics than the Pokemon games with a really unique system that makes it easy to set up some nice combos in co-op. One of the best things going for Cassette Beasts though is the vibes. Its lo-fi art style and chill soundtrack really stuck out to us and made it a really nice experience. The best part is Cassette Beasts is on Game Pass, which leaves little to no excuse on why you're not playing this sleeper co-op hit.
So far, this list has been nothing but W's for our comment section, but I have a feeling that's about to change. It may not be a popular opinion, but we felt that, especially at launch, Diablo IV delivered a pretty awesome package with fun classes, an interesting and engaging story, and tons of activities to complete in the open world. And you could do all of that in two-player local co-op. Has it been smooth sailing since? Not in the slightest, but that's how live service titles go. And with Blizzard at the helm, I expect it to ebb and flow almost every other season. Notably, Season 1 was rough, and notably Season 2 sounds pretty good. But if you and your friend just want to play Diablo 4's base campaign in local co-op and not worry about any of that other stuff, then I think you're in for a really good time and it deserves to be on this list for that.
I feel like a broken record this year when it comes to all my praise for Ember Knights, but if this is the last chance I get to preach the gospel of Ember Knights, then let the sermon begin. Ember Knights is a 4-player hack and slash roguelite that's really punching above its weight in the crowded roguelite genre. The combat in this game feels so good to play regardless of which of the 6 different weapons you choose. In combat, you can create a ton of different synergies since a lot of the upgrades and skills are built with co-op in mind. A nice little touch is that you take turns picking which upgrades to choose on a run, letting your teammates see your options and weigh in on your decision. I could talk about Ember Knights all day, but we have plenty of exciting games to go through, so I'm gonna cut myself off here. Go play Ember Knights if you haven't already.
This year we got the big 3 of gaming to show up and put out 2D platformers. I mean, we're talking Mario, Sonic the Hedgehog, and Mickey Mouse? Okay, so maybe Mickey and the gang hasn't been known for its platforming prowess in quite some time, but I think the narrative is ripe for changing because Disney Illusion Islands is a co-op title deserving of this list. Its secret sauce is how accessible the title is for anyone to join in and play on the couch. Gaining hearts from hugs is super cute, sending down ropes for tough platforming sections is really helpful, keeping the camera zoomed out for better shared screen real estate. This is a rare title that truly cares about how it plays on the couch. Plus, the platforming is really smooth, the art direction is fantastic, and the soundtrack is one of the best of the year. In case it's not obvious, I really think this is a local co-op game that's worth your time.
While I'm glad we didn't make this a ranked list, I think it's fairly obvious which game would take the crown. At this point, everyone and their mother have talked about how brilliant Baldur's Gate 3 is, and we're here to be yet another voice to echo that, but especially how good the game is in local co-op. This game offers a truly staggering amount of freedom, not only in character creation, but especially in player agency. Anyone can do really anything they want, even if they're not player 1, which can be dangerous if you have a friend with a penchant for stealing, but still no less fun. This level of freedom extends to combat too, where you can get really creative with what you're able to pull off together. Since launch, the devs have continued to update the game, with them adding things like Wither's Wardrobe of Wayward Friends, allowing you more control over your co-op party. Baldur's Gate 3 really is as good as everyone says, and easily earns a spot on this list.
Moving Out 2 may seem like a simple Overcooked-like clone, and it is a very good one at that. It gets the wacky humor down and gives enough challenge to keep your group on their toes and having a good time. But it also stands out for its accessibility. Every level can be customized with its assist mode, so that no matter your skill level, you can play and have a good time. I think that's really cool because that's what these games are all about. Grab anyone you can, sit on the couch, and spend the night yelling at each other 1 second and cheering the next. Put simply, Moving Out 2 is a great local co-op game.
Trine 5 may simply be more Trine, but as the saying goes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. With this 5th entry, you really feel like the Trine team is in their Duffy, which is to say, this is the best one yet. Over the 12-hour campaign, you'll see the puzzles start out simple, but the game builds on them over time in both creative and satisfying ways. A nice touch for co-op is that the puzzles will change depending on how many players you're playing with. Most puzzles also have a bit of wiggle room when it comes to the solutions, which meant we often walk away feeling like, wait, was that really the way to solve that one? The Trine series has always been approachable for most gamers, and Trine 5 is no different. I would definitely recommend this to just about anyone, families, friends, couples. Trine 5 has something for everyone.
If you have never listened to us on game suggestions before, then change your tune. The last thing you want to do is leave this video without considering Pizza Possum as your next couch co-op experience. It's a slapstick arcade title where you play as a possum with his trusty raccoon friend and eat as much as possible until you reach the top of an idyllic Mediterranean town and become the Pizza King. All the while, you're avoiding dog guards and gaining wacky power-ups to help you reach your goal, like the ability to put up a gate that the dogs just can't convince themselves to jump over. They are good boys after all. If this sounds like a fever dream, then you're on the right track, but overall, total blast. It's really short and the dynamic split screen camera might not work for you if you get motion sickness, but it's probably the most fun I had in 2 hours of gaming this year, and that's saying a lot. Finishing off this list is the excellent Super Mario Bros. Wonder. We all know that this is one of the best 2D Mario titles in years, but it also makes smart decisions to stand out as an excellent co-op game. The game tells you the difficulty before levels, so you can tell before you get into it if it's going to be good with a group of friends. And the lower difficulty levels are really fun to explore and discover its secrets with your gang. Plus, the change from bubbles to ghosts when players go down makes it easier to return to action and have a little bit more player agency. But overall, the base game is simply so much fun with all the Wonderflower effects that you're going to want to enjoy it with the group of your friends on the couch, like Mr. Miyamoto always intended.
And that rounds out our 10 best local co-op games of the year, but before we wrap things up, we did want to give our flowers to 3 games that didn't quite make the list, so consider these our honorable mentions. Bread and Fred is a 2-player platformer that has you playing as 2 adorable penguins as you ascend a mountain. It's meant to be one of those rage games like Getting Over It, meaning you're gonna fall and fail a whole lot. The thing is, Bread and Fred is actually really chill, and we never really found ourselves raging, rather just laughing when we eventually made those fatal mistakes. It's a great co-op game in that you have to fully rely on your partner and communicate to time your jumps or pull off those trickier maneuvers. It's a simple title, but for $15, it's a great time. Just be sure to pick the right person to play this one with. Rivertale Stronger Together is another wholesome two-player platformer, but here you're playing as a cat and goldfish duo. It has a great art style, and like a lot of the platformers we've mentioned here, this one is super approachable, a perfect game to play with more casual gamers. One thing I really like about it is how creative the game gets with its puzzles. The camera will often shift perspective, and it always finds creative ways to make you work together. If you can't get enough co-op platformers, then definitely check out Rivertale Stronger Together. Lastly, we have For the King 2, a long-awaited sequel for the bros since the original was one of the first games we covered on the channel. For the King 2 is one of those more of a good thing kind of sequels, meaning rather than making drastic changes to a winning formula, the team have made subtle but impactful changes to graphics, combat, and other mechanics. One thing that hasn't changed is how much fun it is in local co-op. Whether you're pulling off some 2000 IQ moves in battle or discovering something cool on the board, For the King 2 is very much worth playing. That's all from us guys, thanks a ton for watching. If any of these games pique your interest, be sure to check the description as we've linked all of our reviews and impressions on these titles, so definitely check those out. We've got some really exciting videos coming up soon, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. And do all the other YouTube stuff, like, share, and follow us on our socials. Otherwise, we'll catch you next time on another episode of The Co-op Bros.